Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monster Report live here on YouTube and on Facebook. Monster Report's a show highlighting those entertaining creatures of film history. I'm your host, Nick Adam, and I am joined with some guests that I'm going to introduce you to in just a minute, but this is our first on-location live stream that we have done, and we're excited about this because this is the one-year anniversary of Parker's Imaginarium here in Greenville, Ohio, and it's a vintage toy shop, one of my favorites to go to and visit and check things out and see what's new and what's going on and what's old too, because stuff from my childhood that I like to pick up. So again, if you're here and you like toys, you like monsters, you like anything that's of those entertaining creatures of film history, you're in the right spot, especially you, Bobby Reynolds. Thank you for joining us in the chat. And like, subscribe, all of those great YouTube things. I'm going to introduce you to my guests that I have here on camera. We have joined with me. Introduce yourself, good sir.
Yes, hi, I'm Matthew Parker, owner and operator with my wife Stephanie at Parker's Imaginarium here in Greenville.
Excellent. Good to have you, Matthew. And you, sir?
Hi, I'm Jared Cassie. I'm the co-owner of 25th Century Toys and Collectibles. I co-own that with my partner, Michelle, and we are located in Eaton, Ohio.
All right. Great to have you. And let me see if I can get this other camera running. It doesn't seem to be running at the moment, but Eli just drifted into the shot next there to Jared. Yeah, Eli's here with me for whatever reason. I don't know why, but his camera seems to be offline. Always seems to happen when you go live on location, but we will figure out what's going on with that and get him back up and running. But there we go. Let me see if I can't get this. There you are. Wave hi, Eli.
Hello.
There we go. All right. Excellent. All right. So 1 year here at, oh, there's my wide shot. And then now it's frozen, of course. It always seems to happen when you're live. Goodness gracious. Why me? Let's see if we can't fix that real quick.
Always asking why. I never ask why not.
Why not? Exactly. Okay. I think we're in good shape. I think there's actually movement here. So in the chat, we also have Miss Stephanie Parker, Miss Parker's Imaginarium. Mrs. Yes. Good to have you, Stephanie, watching in the other room there.
Hi.
Yep. And so, yeah, let's talk some vintage toys. And in the chat, if you have some things you want to talk about, anything from those good old days where we were collecting items, when we were watching television shows, getting entertained, comic books, music, movies, anything that's out there. So tell me, you've got 1 year here in Greenville, the vintage toy store opening up in this area. So kind of how is that, grown? How is that, I guess, what was the original idea behind why opening up a vintage toy store?
Well, just also let you know, Jared, isn't also 1 year for you?
Yeah,
1 year?
just about the same time. We opened up on Black Friday in 2024, so we're also at a year.
Okay, happy 1 year anniversary to both of you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I want to know kind of what goes into the idea of opening up, a unique store like this. There's certain places that I like to go and see the shops and see kind of stuff that they have to offer, and so it's one of the things that we don't have here in Greenville, and I have to travel sometimes far and wide from my area of Randolph County, Indiana, and you guys are just hop, skip, and a jump down the road. So yeah, I guess what compelled you to open up this store here in Greenville?
On a day date, actually.
On a day date?
Yes, on a day date. Well, actually, I was a collector. I lived in Xenia. I worked, had a booth at the Route 68 Vintage Toy Mall there here. Occasionally worked that shop as well. And Stephanie and I were on a day date in Greenville. I lived in Greenville about 15 years ago. And that's when we first met and started dating before we got married. And we were on a day date here and always was tossing the idea in my head. It's like, what Greenville does not have? It does not have a comic shop. It doesn't have they have a toy store. They have Topsy Turvy, but that's more children's, or toddlers.
Little kids,
yeah, for little kids. They don't have a vintage store. They don't have like a hub or an area for pop culture, basically. And so, we started at the coffee house. We started at the coffee pot, and this worked our way up. And we saw, ice cream shop, and then there was this building. It's like, oh, that's an interesting place. And then there was a picture. It's like, wait, there's a living space above it. There was actually an apartment some place above it. So
Yeah.
it was like, wow, there's actually, so we just sort of tossed the idea around, and eventually here, you know, we initiated the process to buy the building,
Yeah.
to actually buy the building and then renovate it. We also live here as
Mhm.
well. And so now, you know, a year later it started. We moved here in August of last year. What you're sitting in right now basically was what I call our lifeboat. We literally had all our stuff just strewn everywhere, our bed and couch right here and an air mattress. And it was a nightmare of a move too, because I had gallbladder surgery at the time we moved. So Stephanie had to take care of all the movers and stuff. I couldn't lift a thing. I couldn't do anything. So yeah, it was but we made it through. A few months later, we got the place renovated and got the upstairs renovated. And then we started on November 30th, Small Business Saturday of last year.
Yeah, and in a place like Greenville with a downtown that has a very old look to it, you know, buildings that have been preserved from, I don't even know how old this building is, but it's definitely in the, you know, early 1900s or whatever, when you had a bustling kind of downtown in most of these smaller towns in rural, you know, Indiana and Ohio.
Well, a strange story that one time, because I work remotely, I still work full time. Stephanie still works full time. So, but I worked downstairs. Of course, you know, we were closed, and I had an old lady knock on the door, and she goes, "This used to be my father's optometrist office in the '60s. Could I come in and take a look around?" And I had to come in the back office right there. I guess that's where they used to grind the lenses.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, this used to be probably a cricket store, a crystal shop. There was just so many things. It's hard to believe in the past how many different businesses this could have been here. It's not haunted though. It's
that we know of.
No, her father didn't he bless the place? Sure did. So
He did. Okay, good.
So we blessed the place. So no ghosts, darn it. You know.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Darn it.
But yeah,
Yeah.
and again, you know, having these old downtowns and being able to see the old brick buildings and how they were used as department stores, doctors' offices. This was the place to go. There was not what we now know as the downtown and the shopping district for the retailers. It was always your downtown, you know, pharmacy and things like that you were in walking distance. And that's what I love to see about Greenville and Eaton. And let's switch over to Jared and talk about, you know, the process of opening up your store in Eaton.
Yeah, so I'm very much transplanted to this area. My partner, Michelle, grew up here. She had moved away and had moved back. And when we met a couple of years ago, one of the things we figured out we both had in common really quick was our love of toys, vintage toys, toy collecting. So when we met, we just kind of started talking about it being a dream of ours to do something like this and create the type of space that we love to visit on weekend road trips or just hang out in. And we kind of saw that Eaton didn't have anything like that. In fact, around our county in Preble County, there was really nothing like it. We always had to travel much further outwards to get the type of stuff that we were into looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So we just started talking about it, and we formed a business, started doing toy shows in the area, doing a little bit of online selling, and just spent some time really curating as massive of a collection as we could, because the goal was brick and mortar.
Right.
And then one day, I think it was me, I was driving home from work, and I saw just a little old-fashioned for lease sign in a window right in South Barron Street in downtown Eaton with a phone number. So I stopped and took a picture of the phone number and said, I'll give this a call later. And I think within 60 days, we were moving in and painting walls. And so the dream really came together quick when that opportunity just kind of presented itself. But we're just thrilled to be doing it every single weekend. We love hanging out in our shop, selling toys, talking to fellow toy fans, and getting people connected with what they love. We're in a similar position as Matt and Stephanie. We both work full-time jobs as well. So during the week, we're out there kind of grinding and getting the job done. And on the weekends, we're pursuing our passion and what we love.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about this. This is what you say. It's something that you love and enjoy doing. It's hardly a day at work when it's something that you love doing and interacting with people that are also kind of interested in the same topics you are. Eli, get in your head a question for these guys in a second. I'll have the first question, but we've got to go to the chat. I'm going to catch up with them. We've got Michelle King. 8302. Hey there. Good to see you here. Gojirasaurus relates to you on the gallbladder surgery there. So good to have you, Gojirasaurus. Yes. Lurie Wilt. Okay. Got it. My sister. Okay. Gotcha. So, yep. Good to have you. Stephanie, he sure did. I'm not sure which comment, but well, he blessed it. That's probably the comment that he blessed it. We're in a blessed area.
That's good.
Michelle King. Sometimes I think we have a ghost who likes to play with the toys.
So Michelle King, that is my girlfriend and partner at 25th Century Toys.
Okay, good to have you, Michelle. But the ghosts are there, even at work. Actually, I'll just show this anecdote out there, throw this out there, that we have a ghost in my office. I work at a hospital, so it must be the haunted hospital, but it's like our office space. We're just PR marketing. But, suddenly you'll hear in a room something get knocked off. And it's like, okay, well, that was that ghost again. All the toilets have those, touchless and the sensors that when you walk away from it, it flushes on its own. The toilet's just in there by itself. And that ghost must be going a whole awful lot because every once in a while you just hear it just start flushing on its own.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah, even when you're dead.
Even when you're dead.
Yes. Gojirasaurus. I see Matt and Stephanie on Whatnot. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're on Whatnot. Excellent.
We haven't done any live sales yet, but we're planning to start in January. Primarily, there will be comic sales.
Okay.
Comic sales around January. Just feel like a good way here to kind of move some older comics.
Okay.
Like older comics.
Yeah, I was going to say, feel free to show off some comics. Yeah.
I love the artwork on these older comics here.
There's nothing like it.
Just today here, modern comics are just so lifeless, but just a few selections here, of course, but especially this cover right here, Crypt of Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
The witch woman here.
Yeah.
Love that cover. But
it's all Marvel. Yeah, the Marvel classics.
Marvel.
And one DC. Yeah.
DC.
Yep.
Of course, we have that. We have independent books, of course, but we have some modern as well as. But most of the time, when I look to find comics anymore, it's usually vintage. I want vintage.
Sure.
I want 60s. I want 70s. I want 80s. Maybe some 90s. Occasionally, though, you buy them in big lots, though, and unfortunately, here you get the modern stuff that doesn't move quite as much as they used to.
But the handwork that went into that, all handwork. There was very, very little computer work during the time of the 70s, especially.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely gorgeous.
And I was going to say, we'll get into some of those outlets like Whatnot and things that you use, as alternatives to just the brick and mortar, because that's part of obviously what you guys do. But let me talk collecting, because a lot of our fans out there are collectors themselves. In the days we live in, there's obviously plenty of online sales going on. But of course, I grew up, and then you guys grew up in the time when you went to the toy store, you went to the department store. The toy section was, this huge playground for you to see what's happening, and it was a treasure hunt. And I still look at it that way. I still long for those days. And I guess that's why I feel like, collecting is very rewarding to me. And it's rewarding to go on a treasure hunt in a brick and mortar, to be able to hold it in my hands. I'm sure you relate to that, and why, opening up a brick and mortar. But tell me about your collecting background. Either one of you want to go first on that? Is like, where did it start for you? Where has it taken you? And where's it going?
Awesome. As long as I can remember, I've been doing this. In my family, toys were kind of a common language. So I was born in the early 80s. My brother's 10 years older than me, so he was born in 73. And I kind of inherited the bug from him, I think. I grew up with a lot of his just awesome hand-me-down, Kenner vintage Star Wars
nice.
stuff.
Yes.
And I got to a point, like I'm going to kindergarten and first grade with show and tell toys that nobody else has because my brother's so much older than me and he has this cool stuff. And my parents were really cool to kind of indulge us on this stuff, never spoil us, but indulge us. And, they were very positive reinforcement parents. So if you were doing something well or doing something good, it usually resulted in now you get to go pick out a toy. Whether you go to the local, we had a toy store called Child World in the area, or the local Toys R Us, and you could pick out a toy. And it's just something that I never quite stepped away from. I remember the exact moment as a kid, and I don't know if I was 10 or 11, and I went from a kid who was playing with toys and reenacting scenes out in the backyard with action figures to a kid who was collecting toys and being like, oh, that would look really cool on this shelf next to this person, and I just really never gave it up. I think at one point in my early 20s, I was preoccupied with just making a living and I wasn't looking at toys so much anymore, but then it didn't take me long to just fall right back into it. And I just absolutely love it.
And you mentioned like the Kenner Star Wars. What other kind of IP during that time were you into?
Oh, for sure. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero.
Yep.
Growing up a little kid in Rhode Island, G.I. Joe was like family. Back then, in the 80s, Hasbro was at least a huge employer. And almost every family either had a relative or that family friend who was employed by Hasbro. And we were fortunate enough to have a family friend who was always bringing cool stuff by the house. And I mean, I can't even imagine the G.I. Joes that kind of came and went through our hands as kids. But I used to just world build with those guys. I loved them.
And were they the big fig G.I. Joes? Or were they the little ones, right?
These would have been, the little 3 3/4 inch O-ring figures. And with all the scalable vehicles and fighter jets and tanks.
That's what I grew up with. Exactly.
Yes. Just absolutely love them to this day. I was also a big He-Man kid.
Yeah. We're big Motu fans in our house. Yes.
Love Motu, She-Ra, Transformers.
I used sorry to interrupt.
No.
I used to own a old vintage He-Man. I got this for I think $5 at a store somewhere.
It's a good deal.
It went missing. All that I have left is his arm because I live in a house with 4 other siblings.
Okay.
So it's easy to lose.
That can happen.
Well,
and playing with the toys also makes that happen.
That's all I have left though. A He-Man arm and its sword.
What I love is, of course, now that I'm a dad and have kids who play with my toys, but at the same time, I'm also like, those are the toys you play with. Those are the toys that go on the shelf.
And stay out there.
So, but Matt, talk to me a little about your collecting background, where it started and where it's taken you.
Well, that'd be 2 phases in my life.
Okay.
Once I was younger, of course, in my adult years. Now, I'm 54, so I grew up in extraordinary times here. So my father took me to see Star Wars in '77.
Oh.
I have a vague memory of it. I remember Superman the movie more in '78. So that was more impactful, I think. But as far as favorite toys, I mean, I had, of course, most of the Kenner Star Wars toys. But my favorite, and this is a miniature version of it, was the Shogun Warriors Godzilla.
Yep.
That was my favorite, the 2 foot with the flying fist and the tongue. I will get one of these days. I will. It will be mine.
Very rare to find them in good shape.
Yes, good shape.
And complete.
But I've had Shogun Warriors here. I had Nzinga. I had some here at the store initially, and then I restored them here as well. That's part of the fun of owning the places, restoring.
Right.
Another one of my favorites was Mattel Space 1999 Eagle.
Okay.
That was. I saw one actually. I was at an auction a couple weeks ago, and there was kind of the shell of one here, but I didn't go for it. That would have been a major restoration project. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna, go crazy on a bid here for something here that's probably going to cost me $300 to repair. So I just
they're that priceless these days, aren't they?
But mostly, then I got into music a lot. So then mostly, Kiss was a huge influence. The band Kiss had all their records. Then the big hair 80s metal. And so I became a musician here for a while. And then my adult years were horror movies primarily. Universal monster movies, the classics. One of my favorite movies, of course, is Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween, or anything John Carpenter, period. Those were just pretty much my favorites. And so I started collecting probably around the early to mid 2000s, just little bits here and there, figures, posters. And it just kind of kept growing and growing and growing and growing. So it was just primarily monsters and horror.
And were you collecting kind of the modern takes on classics, like some of the NECA stuff that John Carpenter, like The Thing, and
Yeah, if I could get, if I got a hold of vintage stuff, I did.
Yeah.
But for the most part here, it was more your kind of modern takes. That's just one of the biggest things. There's a lot of great new stuff that comes out that's horror related, and the convention, the circuit, the culture. It's beautiful. We take my daughter to Horror Hound, twice a year. So we go in March, and then we go in September here, just so we can overpay for celebrity.
Yeah,
I have several here in shop that way. Okay.
Yeah, going to the shows, seeing collections and seeing vendors, and obviously seeing the celebrities that get to be there and meet them face to face from the IP that you're used to. Eli, have your question ready in just a second, because I'll get back to the chat here. So Gojirasaurus, again, thank you for being in the chat and talk to us. I'm not local to you, but like supporting small shops when I can, whenever you can, basically whenever they are. Matt is a fantastic artist from Lowry Wilt. That's
my sister.
Your sister? Okay.
I haven't drawn anything in years. I literally have not. I used to maybe back in the 80s, but that was maybe a little bit in the 90s, but I haven't touched it in years.
But restoration is an art within itself too.
Yeah, it does.
Restoring.
Yeah. I was also a bass player in a really bad metal band, so.
Awesome. Gojirasaurus loves the Super 7. Matt loved Robotech.
I did.
Yes.
I did love Robotech in the 80s.
And I was going to say, with your sister, like, I didn't grow up with sisters, so there was no My Little Pony with He-Man. But if I had cousins that had those toys or whatever, yeah, we'd combine the toys and somehow make that all work. Eli guy here, he's got sisters, so they've got their doll toys and he's got his toys.
Yeah, she was the only female amongst 7 kids. So,
yeah.
So,
Eli, you've got a question brewing for these gentlemen. Fire away. Oh, you didn't? It's okay. You want me to?
It'll come back.
I was gonna tell you, but I forgot.
Tell you what, if you get it back, just signal me,
Okay.
and I'll come back to you with that. But yeah, classic collections, stuff from the vintage era, and of course, looking at it now, sometimes you see in the toy stores, even at the Walmarts and like the electronics section, I'm just like, I'm back to my era. I see ET figures. I see. Obviously there's the Stranger Things too, is kind of in those collection areas. But yeah, there's some of the old IP there. Like I talked about the John Carpenter, The Thing, going back to Halloween, going back to even in the regular retail toys section. I remember seeing the Playmate Star Trek and the Turtles and He-Man and G.I. Joe, all of the stuff that was, and even the Transformers vintage, showing like the 86 version or the Gen 1 remakes of the Transformers. And I'm like, I'm back in the 80s. I'm back to when I was a kid.
Sure.
The toy aisle hasn't changed much from a Kmart to a Walmart back in the late 80s or 90s. That's one thing was concerning me. It's like, I think we're kind of at a cultural dead end at the moment. We're not coming up with a lot of new IP or interesting ideas, and they keep rehashing the old ones. That's why teenagers are into anime a lot. Japan comes out with new stuff all the time, and I get anime here in the shop.
Honestly, I'm kind of into gag manga, which is like a comedic kind of manga.
Okay.
Well, and manga is a really big IP for comics.
Yeah, it's a bit like comics, but you read right to left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like a reversed comics almost.
But
also like Koro and stuff. I'm not sure about any of that stuff, but gag manga is just probably the most fun. It's just like comedic manga and stuff. I mean, like, I think they're starting to publish a couple of Godzilla ones.
Cool.
I mean, they were talking about that kind of stuff somewhere. I forgot where it was, but
Well, and you read the Kirby manga as well.
yes.
Yep.
Nice.
Kirby's an awesome IP from the video game world.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
Nintendo. Also, Legend of Zelda.
Legend of Zelda manga as well. And again, yeah, like you said, it's like nothing's new under the sun, right? It's the old IP coming back. If there is kind of some of the new stuff that's really taking off, like I talked about Stranger Things, the IP is good, but I don't know if the toys are selling, the merchandise is selling as well as.
I always grabbed Eddie Munson from the character from the fourth season.
Okay.
Yeah, his stuff sold. And Demogorgons, Vecna, those generally are good.
Any of the creatures, right?
Any of the creatures
Yeah.
are generally good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just unfortunate here. But that just haven't really seen a lot of new IPs. And thing is, a lot of the market anymore here, they market the what they call kidults. Basically
Yes.
adults here, like guys like us. So
We're the target audience.
Guilty.
We are. Yeah.
And it's not necessarily transferring here to the next generation. It's more
Right.
It's marketed to us.
Yeah.
Like we see the new Thundercats, the Masters of the Universe Thundercats mashups.
Right.
Oh gosh,
Those
Yeah.
are,
that was hurting my brain just looking at it.
those are
It does seem a little strange, but
Those are cool.
Yeah,
though,
and
but
Right.
like,
those are for
that's
us.
the
Right.
universe
That's
with
not
another
for-
series mix. And like my eyes were twitching when I was looking at those.
well, and yeah, when they do those mashups, they did the Turtles of Grayskull, like you said, and they're trying to, I guess, throw things against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I do
Right.
see, what they're doing with some of the new re-releases, of Motu, and they even tried a Netflix series with who was Kevin Smith at the helm of that as the showrunner. It was relatively successful, but it wasn't like going to continue carrying on. But again, yeah, we're going back to some of when they were the risk takers. I like you mentioned John Carpenter, a risk taker in the films. Maybe they weren't as successful when they were first released, but then they got such a cult following when you think of the years that they came out. That was one of the first films you would have thought of is The Thing or Halloween or Escape from New York.
Yeah, I saw that in the drive-in. Escape from New York. When weekend it came out.
Oh my.
I've only been to one drive-in, and that was Inside Out 2.
Well, and we have in Randolph County an actual drive-in that's
Wow.
still running and shows new movies. I'd love to see them do classic movie drive-in stuff, but
Almost seems like a no-brainer, right?
Well,
Yeah.
The Dixie and Dayton, they did an awesome one for Halloween, and they also did the Back to the Future 40th anniversary of the drive-in as well. So
yeah.
I didn't get to make it, unfortunately, to that one, but that would have been awesome.
Michelle King's dream tattoo is He-Man riding an MLP. I'm trying to think of what
Handwriting MLP.
MLP.
Oh, My Little Pony.
My Little Pony. Well, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
I'm
it does
thinking in
make
terms
sense.
of He-Man, but like no, He-Man riding My Little Pony.
I just want that tattoo
Yeah.
right there.
I could see that, a My Little Pony in like Battle Cat armor. Yeah.
And
Very cool.
well, and the scale
Yes.
scale seems about right. Actually,
It could work.
yeah, your GI Joe wouldn't ride the My
Yeah.
Little Pony because they'd be like, those huge horses, the Budweiser horses or whatever. Gojirasaurus, Godzilla X Turtles is weird. Yeah, they did crossover with that. Godzilla had crossover with Power Rangers. Yep, and that kind of makes sense.
I think
Actually,
Sure,
I
yeah.
remember reading one of your comics, Godzilla versus Hero Zero.
oh, there's so many crossovers. Yeah. Anything that they can pit Godzilla up against. Jared Leto to play Skeletor. Thoughts? I did see that.
No.
Okay.
I just can't get behind the idea. I mean, I'm going to go into the movie with as open mind as I can.
Right.
But I'm having a real struggle with that one.
Like he's a great character actor, like Dallas Buyers Club. Something that's where he won his Oscar. But
Sure.
But that Joker, the Tron area, it just all falls on its face. He's just not. He's just not a lead actor. He's a great dramatic actor, but
Right. And
it
you
just doesn't work.
and you see Jared Leto, try. He tries sometimes maybe a little too hard. And I think again, Tron another old IP, again, unsuccessful in its time. And then, they came out with Legacy in 2010. I actually liked that.
Loved
Legacy was good.
Legacy. Loved it.
We were talking before the show about Disney parks, and we got the chance to ride the Tron Light Cycle ride at Magic Kingdom, which was pretty incredible, and definitely has that retro neon digital, of what we would have thought of as the early 80s look for it. And I know you have a background working at the parks with Disney.
Yeah, I do.
And so I'm sure that didn't help contribute to any kind of, the idea of, collecting, and whether it was the Disney IP or other IP, but you could see, of course, where, merchandising, Spaceballs the movie, right? Spaceballs the flamethrower.
Yes.
I mean, just like, we're going on a Disney trip here actually soon, and it's just like most expensive trip ever. And
You
everything.
always exit at the gift shop.
That's right. You always do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
They got you right where you are. But but I mean, the experience at Disney, I'm sure was interesting, and definitely an experience for you to remember. And what kind of era was that? And tell me about what's changed since then.
Probably quite a bit. And admittedly, it's been a while since I've been able to go and visit some friends and family that I still have. I worked at Walt Disney World in Florida. And I still have quite a few friends down there and some family. And I'm just kind of overdue for a visit. And to go step back into the parks myself, it's been several years now since I visited a park. From what I hear, operationally, it's a lot different. From a guest experience side, I'm going to guess it's probably a whole lot different. I was there from approximately 2007, 2008 to 2014, early 15. And I mean, I was just having a blast there. And I worked in just about every park for a time, spent most of my time at Hollywood Studios, which was really catered to, they were trying to always figure out their theming, but it was catered to like that backstage look at Hollywood productions and special effects. And with that, there was all this IP driven stuff that went into that park. So I was kind of right there in the middle of it. And it definitely, helped forward my ideas of like, if I were to have my own place in the future, what type of stuff would I have? What would I feature? And it also played right into my collecting, because right there at the park, some of the stuff that was coming out at the time, whether it was Star Wars toys or Indiana Jones toys,
right?
I was right there on board for it. What I kind of took away from my experience there was, at least speaking to that era, was guest service all the way. And I always wanted to kind of infuse that into like a small boutique toy shop. And then just the showmanship of being able to go out and share why I love toys and be able to speak about them, and even come up with themed circumstances where we're telling stories with toys.
Right.
I do owe a lot of that to my time at Disney. I guess it was an inspiration in that way.
And of course, that was prior to the Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios. But
Yes.
at that time, you had Star Tours, I believe, still.
Oh yeah, Star Tours was still big in popularity. It was right around the time I had stepped away that Galaxy's Edge, the plan for it, was really starting to form. And I was very fortunate. A couple of years later, I went back and visited, and one of my friends who was still a cast member at the time took me on his cast preview of Galaxy's Edge before it was open to the general public.
Oh,
and
my.
I remember the first time he and I were standing there in front of the Millennium Falcon in life size, in awe. And it's just like a dream come true, standing here, and it's like, wow, we're right here at the Millennium Falcon, and it's like we can now go fly it. It was awesome.
And touch it and see it and
Yes.
see the scale of it. Yeah, there is something to behold about that. And we had the chance to ride Rise of the Resistance a couple of times when it was difficult to ride, actually, during the time of COVID. And when they were starting to roll out that, the virtual queues and all that.
Yeah.
And as quick as you could be on the draw for the phone, I think I was 116th in line. I mean, it was just like, I was right there, but it's like, wow, even as fast as I could get into the virtual queue, it was like, I'm just glad we could get it in the day we were there. But
if Flash pulled up the phone, it would still be at 90th in line.
Yeah. Yeah. At what point do you have to hit that button to get a decent spot in line?
I know, yeah. Getting back to the chat here, Gojirosaurus. The film made me sad. I'm guessing he's talking about the Tron, one of the Tron's a sequel to Legacy. Yeah, that would have been nice.
On Ares. Oh yeah.
Or
Ares.
Ares.
Ares was the new movie, but yeah, a sequel to Legacy. What happens to Sam Flynn? That would have been nice.
makes
What happened to
sense.
Cora? That would have been nice to know.
We just want to ignore it all. And
yeah.
Ugh,
No,
these cliffhangers.
they had 9 Inch Nails to the soundtrack, but
Yep.
I don't think you could top Daft Punk's.
Daft Punk was, I love that soundtrack.
That soundtrack was perfect.
It was. So yeah, there's a diversity of products you can have in a vintage toy store. It's not just the figures, but you talked about comics.
Mhm.
What other kind of products would you also expect to see in a vintage toy store that
Eli,
would work
could you
out?
hand me that where the Toy Story earrings are?
Right there.
Yeah. Well, just one thing here, like this always shout out to my wife.
These ones?
Yeah, could you bring that whole piece to me? That
Good.
The whole frame.
the whole
Or-
frame.
The whole
Oh.
frame.
Yeah, the whole
Sorry.
frame.
Careful.
Thank you. Like, well, my wife, she makes jewelry. She likes to usually make steampunk and costume jewelry, but now she's also kind of turned to pop culture jewelry here as well.
Here, I'm going to put it in front of this
Okay.
camera because I really want everyone to check that out.
She got some Toy Story pieces, and she, made them in the earrings.
Got the
And
Monsters Inc. Yeah,
as well.
one of my favorites.
Does that with just like My Little Pony. She finds some charms, horror stuff. She creates. So we have handmade items. So the monikers, vintage toys, collectibles, and handmade items. She
Mhm.
does the handmade items here.
Very cool.
And
Yeah.
So, and then we also, do records. Since vinyl has now come back in a very big way as far as physical media collections, I'm very glad it has come back. But we got a few records.
Oh yeah.
Of
Nice.
course, $6 Million Man.
I'm always checking out the soundtracks, especially.
Oh, we talked about Space 1999 earlier here. Disco Star Wars, disco.
I love Disco Star Wars
Disco
myself,
Star Wars.
and I'm not embarrassed to admit.
And I also do a little bit of wholesale. I don't do a whole lot of wholesaling. Mostly we're collection buyers. We go out, we actually search for this, or people bring this stuff here to us.
Yeah.
Auctions, flea markets, garage sales, wherever we can find
Raffles.
it. Raffles, whatever. But do some wholesaling. There's a place in Savannah, Georgia called Gray Face Records, and I met them at Horror Hound. I do some of their records. They get the licenses like Time Bandits, very unusual properties you don't
Sure.
see. So so we have vinyl records in shop. I would started with soundtracks and just pop culture stuff primarily, but I'm starting to do some music. I'm looking for mostly 80s, but if I find something from the 70s, I'll stick it in there. So
And I think that's so cool. Even some of the companies that like even Mondo, and I'm trying to think of the other company that did some new pressings and even very unique, designs on the vinyl itself. I'm blanking on the name though, of who's produced some of those Godzilla soundtrack albums that are out there too. But I know they've done several of them and they've been pretty successful, but it gives you a little extra to not just a remake of what it used to look like. I'm sure that the Time Bandits, that's probably what it did look like in its heyday.
Yeah.
And they've just recreated it. In some of the cases, they've used some modern artwork to give it a modern look to it. But some of these are from the day that the Star Wars Disco, that is from.
yeah, that is from the 70s.
Yeah.
These are from the 70s. That's part of the fun is the hunt sometimes.
Yes.
As I said, if it doesn't come in, we go out, we garage sales, flea markets, auctions, just wherever we can find it.
Yeah.
And we just also let people know, bring in here, we're pickers, that's basically what it is. It's picking.
Yeah.
Jared, any unique items that other than like some of the vinyls and things that you also sell?
Yeah, so we are probably not as diversified in the type of stuff we sell in our shop as you are, Matt. It's predominantly toys. I am very fortunate though. Michelle far exceeds me in her talent level to go out and curate certain other items or put certain things together or even craft on occasion. And we will have a certain amount of that in our store. Aside from things that we would kind of define strictly as toys, collectibles that are IP driven, if it's something that kind of connects to a toy line, whether it's a lunchbox, whether it's a backpack, whether it's even sometimes on occasion an article of clothing like a sweatshirt that might have a particular character on it, we have been known to carry that that type of item in our shop before. Sometimes I would kind of categorize some of the prop toys that are far more of an adult collectible than a toy, whether it's a Star Wars helmet or a sword from a certain movie. We've had that in our shop before too.
Yeah.
And that's always fun to see. And they're always good conversation starters. And again, it's just part of the stuff that I also personally love to collect.
Yeah.
So when you meet that other collector who comes into your shop and there's either a prop weapon or a helmet or something hanging on a wall, and they're like, oh my goodness, I've been looking all over for that, or I haven't seen that anywhere.
And then, the sword collecting, especially, I can relate to with that. I didn't want to get into the Lord of the Rings toy collecting because it's like another IP that I just don't need. But I was like, I might have a place in my wall for Narsil,
right?
And Enderil and the Strider sword. I really love the Strider sword before he got Enderil.
Oh
that's one that I really liked.
The Strider Ranger sword is probably like one of the top movie swords.
Oh, it's
like,
so cool.
oh man, I am dying to get the Master Sword though from Legend of Zelda.
Oh, that's a good one.
I have been dying to get that thing on my wall.
Yeah, we've had a couple of Zelda swords, and that's always a hit.
I would like the McLeod sword.
The
McLeod.
I'm still very, when it comes to Highlander though, the fact that he is of the Scottish Highlands and the McLeod sword.
He's
at least,
French. I know.
Yeah.
He's a Frenchman. And then they have Sean Connery's a Scotsman playing an Egyptian who happens to be Spanish.
Well, it's named Ramirez. Yes. And his sword
it works for me.
But his sword is a samurai sword.
Right.
Yeah. Katana.
That's because he was married to a Japanese princess.
Yeah.
He explained that story here, whose father was a genius.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like if you
it all works.
Taking the storyline of these guys are like literally like eternal and timeless and living forever. They have all this time to explore different parts of the world and collect swords.
That's why.
Whichever culture they want.
Yeah, they literally walked there because they had that kind of time being immortal. Thank you.
Plenty of Queen music. That's all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, Queen. Yes.
Yeah.
Waxwork Records. That was the one. Waxwork Records. Thank you, Gojisaurus. I know that my friend Godzilla fan Frakes Everett. He's a big fan of their records. I don't think I have one from them, but I do have from Mondo. Michelle and Stephanie are talking to each other. Yep, Stephanie with her talent, showing off the jewelry and things that she works on. Excellent work. So you want to see something original like that, come into the store and pick up some of those. I know you also do pins, right?
Yeah, we have pins. And it's just a lot of smalls sometimes here. Sometimes people come in and there are some high price items.
Mm-hmm.
Got a Voltron up there that's $300. Okay. Not everybody's going to have $300 to spend money on a 25th anniversary Voltron. But
that one collector that has been looking for it.
Yeah. But they'll at least have $5 here for a pin, or $3 for a little pin, a little pop culture memorabilia here. Or I had some ladies come in yesterday that picked up some Toy Story earrings. They just were Monsters Inc. earrings because they just loved it.
Yeah.
So we have always had plenty of smalls here available, just little items, $5, $10. Most of my comics are below $10.
Yeah. And the pins, I know the Disney especially, you go to Orlando, you'll notice that the pin collection
pin trading is
it's a whole universe down there.
Yeah.
And to find something that would be down there, of course, the price is going to be quite elevated. And I find the same pins at some flea markets and places here. I found my Vincent pin from Black Hole.
Black Hole.
Yes. Okay, good. Someone else who appreciates the Black Hole like I do.
Love the Black Hole.
If it's an unusual IP, I'm probably on it. Like Return to Oz. I knew you got a puzzle from
puzzles over there.
Return to Oz.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, when I tell people about Return to Oz and it's like, oh, I didn't like that. It was too dark. And I'm like, well, that's why I liked it.
Yeah, I embrace it now. It terrified me as a kid. But
Actually, Eli, could you please get those?
Yeah, those puzzles, Return to Oz.
Sure.
That's a unique find.
Yeah, it was so they're not like crazy valuable, but they were weird.
Right. That's
sometimes
awesome.
A weird find if you wanted to.
Yeah,
let me show this off on the camera right there here. Just these little kids puzzles here that are really bizarre.
Yeah, TikTok.
The
before
original
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yes.
TikTok, yeah. Pumpkinhead.
and Jack Pumpkinhead.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of very steampunk in a sense.
It is.
Kind of,
You know, like I always thought like TikTok was just another Tin Man.
Tin Man.
Version of the Tin Man.
Yeah, and like the Jack Pumpkin was like another scarecrow almost. That was like when I was like little. That's
Well,
what I always
yeah.
thought.
And still getting in the idea of Dorothy in this magical world with her characters that she meets along the way. Don't do the exact same thing as the first film and the first story, of course, because it's based upon the books.
Mhm.
But yeah, some of those unusual IPs, those are the ones I go after, especially the ones that people haven't thought about in a long time or have never heard of, like the Black Hole. And when I show it to people now, and it's like, wow, this is a pretty darn good Disney movie. Why wasn't it successful? And I just think of its time, it just, people weren't ready for
Right.
that film. And, or,
Disney's had a lot of those.
yeah, Black Cauldron.
Oh, the
You
Black
know.
Cauldron's another great example.
Mhm.
Rocketeer was a great example.
Great.
Oh man.
And I know I would probably get hate for this, but I liked John Carter. I just thought it was marketed horribly.
Same. Yeah. Worst marketing campaign in Disney live action history. Pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
And which is probably one reason why they're so gun shy anymore here.
Yeah.
In anything kind of new or creative or
Yeah.
stepping outside the box, because basically they've drawn everything, they just fallen on their face, or
Yeah.
or just wasn't successful or became cult.
Yeah.
And now they're overspending here on Marvel movies.
I think it speaks to your earlier point. There's no more risk taking anymore from either big studios or big corporations. They just kind of lean into, well, this worked well for us before, so we're gonna keep going.
Yes, but now it's reached its
Yeah.
its exhaustion.
It has, yeah.
But I think of IP by committee, because
Yes.
it's like if everyone's a cook in the kitchen, then the creativity is just washed out of it.
Yes.
And I think if you really get somebody who has a vision and creative control of a project, and especially if there's someone as visionary as like a John Carpenter, even Steven Spielberg, before, more recently, I'd say, had
Nolan, probably.
Christopher Nolan. Yeah,
He's probably our best example we have.
modern days of
Yeah.
let him cook. Yeah.
Cook.
Let him cook and let him make something great. Gojirasaurus. Well, first off, Stephanie, yeah, we try to have something for everyone, no matter the price range. Yep. Try to afford what you need. Well, do you need it? Sometimes I do look at something and I say, it's not that I need it, but I need it.
Right.
I see
That's
Eagle
when
Moss.
when you got the Captain Powers.
Yeah, the Captain Power. That was a piece of my childhood, and an underrated piece of my
Oh, for
childhood
sure.
that I have to have that.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
yeah.
that's also the great thing about doing this. Just Wednesday, as an example, and there was a guy came in here with his son and bought a couple things. He bought actually a Cabbage Patch doll, still in the doll. And this was a gift, he said, for his aunt, because she couldn't get it in '83 during the mad rush of the Cabbage Patch, mobs or riots,
Yep.
apparently, that they had in '83. So I have 2 or 3 here still in the package, birth certificates and all. And he bought one because that's what he's going to give his aunt.
Aha.
She's finally going to get a Cabbage Patch doll in the package here because she couldn't get one in 1980.
And subtly telling everyone to the camera, Christmas is coming. There's probably a unique gift from one of these two gentlemen's stores that
For sure.
you will get in, and it's like, that's it. That's my loved one's gift that will light up their world. I think of the Santa Claus. It's the Oscar Mayer weenie whistle, and it's like
Yeah.
for me it was the Captain Power though, and an old monitor to be able to use it and works on. But yeah, the classic stuff. Gojirasaurus is talking about the Eagle Moss Star Trek ships above your head there, Matt. Master Replicas took those over a year and making them now. Congratulations. Excellent. You're a better man than me if you can do model building, because that's, yeah.
Well,
My patience.
Those aren't models.
Oh, they aren't models?
No, those are just actually die cast.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
What?
Those are
Gotcha.
I can't do model building either. That's why I do Legos. If I,
It'll be covered in glue if I'm trying to build a model.
No, I just clumsy hands like
I'm
that.
gonna mount a replica with trash and plaster, but that was pretty. But I'm drawing a blanket outside of that.
Gojirasaurus talking about agreed regarding the John Carter comment. Need more Burroughs adaptation. Land That Time Forgot remake. Yes, there's a lot. Sister is asking about the rarest thing you have now.
The rarest?
Yes. As if she didn't know.
Oh.
Or maybe she doesn't. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I have a few things, but I just got one that came across me a couple weeks ago. This piece right here. This looks like a dollar store piece, but it's very rare.
Yeah.
This is Star Trek the Motion Picture Space Viewer. It's very weird.
Very cool, though.
Very cool.
And I love the motion picture. Also of the same era of the black hole.
Yep.
And
1979. And another thing I got right here. This is something you don't see every day for you music lovers.
Whoa!
Oh man, that's awesome.
Amigo Diana Ross, still in the package.
Is it a Barbie doll?
Kind of. Well, Amigo was the company that made this. In the 70s, they were like the biggest toy company at one point in the 70s.
competitor probably to Barbie in this case. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And they did great stuff like this. I have a Cher doll over there too, but it's very rare to kind of find these still here in their original packaging. This one's in fantastic shape. The Cher's a little beat up, but those are some of the you could say just a couple of examples of rarities here in this shop.
Yeah. That Diana Ross is something I don't run across very often.
No. I know Gojirasaurus is asking, is that like a Viewmaster? I guess it's not quite the same, but
well, on the side, it's got these papers, these little papers inside. It almost looks like gum packs, but there's these papers where I guess you just
slide it
into the viewer. Basically.
It's almost like a player piano roll or something.
Yeah,
I think I've seen something like that before.
But this was something here that you would find here just when you're checking out at the grocery store here, just sitting on the side. You think it's just cheap piece of play, but it's very rare to find this in the package just as is.
What's the price you put on it?
Well, believe it or not, I've looked it up here, and actually, this is $125 now.
Oh,
Nice.
and
$125.
yeah, fairly priced at that, I'm certain, because if it's in that good a shape from that era, and the motion picture may get a lot of flack, but it's still got a special place in my heart.
I like it.
Yeah, I love it. And there's an anecdotal piece of trivia for you guys here about Star Trek the Motion Picture. The director, Robert Weiss, is from Winchester, Indiana, which is nearby where Eli and I live. We live out in the county of Randolph County. Winchester is just down the road, and that is where Robert Weiss was born, director of Star Trek, The Haunting, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Sound of Music, West Side Story, so many great, The Andromeda Strain, and going way back, an assistant editor to Orson Welles on Citizen Kane. So Robert Weiss was the man.
Should need to say his name right.
Awesome. Migo must have made a Superman and a lot more. Yeah, they definitely had a lot of IP.
They were mostly known for the Marvel, and I have a Migo Captain Kirk's on the package from '74 and a Klingon too as well.
Okay.
But they did those 12-inch figures especially, and those were like pop stars, actors of the time. Those were those were very cool.
The likeness, the sculptors at Migo in the 70s, the likeness they got on, there were a few misses, but most of their figures, when you think about the era they were coming from, it was phenomenal.
Yeah, they had a lot of love into their artistry.
They weren't doing 3D scans of actors' faces or anything like that. It was pretty great.
No, it wasn't like a NECA sculpt. They have those great sculpts at NECA, but the Migo still, there's just something so timeless about it.
And handmade work that goes into these. And I've talked to toy makers, especially, from the days of, how they, they had the molds and all of that, and thinking about how you keep the price point down in the manufacturing process,
Yeah.
but at the same time still giving the kids something that they will love and treasure, and not just a repaint of a stormtrooper to make it another stormtrooper just with a slightly different variant to it. And all they did was just paint it. So they would do things like that. I remember even Marvel toys when I was a kid growing up, a Captain America, and there was another one that was just a repaint of that
Yeah.
same
Toy
one.
Biz was notorious for that.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
charming to look at now, but when you see all the repaints from Toy Biz of the 90s, it's hilarious.
Well, yeah. And, it is like you come up with something that is so textured. Godzilla, of course, even the comic book artist will say you can't get away with hardly anything because he's so textured because of his skin. If you try to cheat and make him one color, it's just going to look, very cheap.
Right.
So you've got to get the texture in there of it, in the molds, the toys, and in the artistry that you put into it. But other things you can get away with. And I remember we're just, an hour or so away from Cincinnati, where Kenner is, of course, where they created the original Star Wars toys. And what a story, they had of getting that IP when no one else thought it was going to take off. And it was like, they definitely.
I think Vigo turned it down.
Vigo turned, yeah.
Turned.
Well, everyone was turning him down, as I understand it. Yeah.
Boy.
Marty Abrams is probably still having nightmares about that one.
Oh man.
Yeah. The hot toys of their times. Yeah. Now we have hot toys, trying to get the likeliness, repaints, pay for toolings. Yes.
Well, those hot toys are cool. But,
Hot toys,
they're
yeah.
expensive.
They are.
Mhm.
And then they're not for the everyman collector, you could say here, but for that collector, it's got that extra wallet, and those are very nice sculpts.
And conversation starters when you see the collection room. I go back to the movie Dodgeball, when he's going into the lady's house and he kind of barges in, and it's like, yeah, I'm kind of into unicorns, and it's just like, everywhere. And when you think about this kind that you get into somebody's house, in my house, I'm like, I'm unapologetic. You're going to see mostly Godzilla, but I've got the Gill Man, I've got Pacific Rim, I've got Black Hole, and that's a conversation starter again, because it's like, what's that? I've never heard of that. Oh, let me tell you about it.
For sure.
Yeah. So, I've at least got, but there's some IPs that I'll just say I'm not going to touch. I'm not going to begin to collect, because there's just too large of a galaxy for me to get into Star Wars. I'll enjoy the movies and the music. I cannot find myself putting Star Wars stuff on my shelves, but I'll appreciate it when I go into the stores and to cons and seeing the vendors that have this stuff.
Yeah.
But, I kind of have the ones that I'm looking for. And you've probably seen that in some of the people who come in. They kind of know some of the IPs that they know that they've got to put their hands on, and they've got to have that in their collection, in their house, to kind of say that they brought it home from the screen to, their own personal lives. Is there some IPs that you've found that you've been kind of like shocked by, that people might have been interested in that? It's like, wow, that kind of never not thought of that in a long time.
Every now and again you encounter one. You meet so many different types of collectors, and I think that's part of what's so awesome about this. You have your completist collectors who are looking for that one last piece. For it might be a really prolific toy line that a lot of people are collecting, but there might be that one hard to find piece that they're just looking for. And then you have more eclectic collectors that are just like, I just collect what I like, and I like this type of character from this series or this or that. But every now and again, to your point, you meet somebody who comes in looking for a very specific toy that it's like, wow, that's one I don't see often, and it's one I probably wouldn't have thought of until it kind of landed in my lap.
Yeah.
And you'll have to forgive me. I'm trying to think of a good example
or,
of one.
Or let me say it this way.
Yep.
That's something that they have looked at as their holy grail. Maybe it's not the holy grail of that IP.
Okay.
But to them, that item that they just found in your store, perhaps you talked about the Cabbage Patch, to them.
Oh, I had
that
a gentleman come in yesterday, and stuff I thought, this is something I thought I would sit on for a while. It's like, why did I get this? It was just because it was unusual. It was part of one of the Great Face Records, one of the IPs they got for their records was the Toxic Avengers cartoon.
Oh wow, the
Soundtrack.
cartoon.
It was the cartoon, and I also had a couple of Dr. Killimoff figures here as well here. But the guy just was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you got the record of cartoon." I said, "Well, I got a Dr. Killimoff figure over there too with the slime." And it's like, "Oh, you got me at that." So
Yeah.
so
Yep. You had exactly what
he wanted.
Yeah.
filled in the needs right
Yeah.
there.
And so he was, so he bought the record and the figure, and luckily I have a second
Yeah.
figure, but I could be holding on to it here until the rest of the time.
Right.
So
Yeah.
just to find that one guy that
Yep.
will come in for it,
But it happened.
it happened.
Yeah,
I've
it
got a
happened
couple
here.
kind of like that. You mentioned Captain Power before. I had Captain Power with his ship, and I don't even recall the name of the ship. It's awesome.
Mhm.
With it's got like almost the pistol handle with the trigger because
That's
it
right.
could interact with the TV. And I had that sitting in a display case, and we had it for quite a while. And some folks were interested in it. A lot of folks asked what it was. Is this G.I. Joe? Is it Star Wars? No, it's actually Captain Power, which brings up that great conversation about a toy line that they otherwise wouldn't have known about. But the one day a guy came in who was a huge Captain Power fan
Yep.
and hadn't actually encountered one of these in person in years, he just had to have it and walk away with it. And it was
Mhm.
awesome hearing his story of why he loved it.
Yep.
Another one was I just had a really simple Mork from Ork sitting in our display cabinet, 3 3/4 inch, 5 POA Mork from Ork. And a guy came in for something totally different, and we're just having a conversation at the counter. And he looked down and saw that, and he just started laughing and just had to have that Mork from Ork. You know,
Yeah.
in the condition it was in, I think it was like maybe an $8 or $9 figure. It made his day. He loved it, and those are the conversations and experiences I love about this.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like almost to that point, the price that you put on it might not be anything to them because it's
Right.
like, I needed to have that. So
Yeah.
it's almost like name your price. I'm a good salesman, or I'm a good bargainer when I'm like, name your price, right? don't trust me in on that. But Hot Toys, yeah, like the X Plus for Godzilla fans. Yeah, I'm a huge X Plus fan. I thought I wouldn't get into that because they're on the higher end of the price spectrum. And once I started with my
You did,
first,
didn't you? You did.
when I did my
Yes,
first, yep, I was hooked. Yep, I couldn't stop with just the one. And yeah, thousands of dollars later, the X Plus collection is there, and maybe it'll become my retirement. I don't know, because they seem to be going up in value. And yeah, I visited a store just the other day, and there was somebody who had unloaded an entire huge collection of X Plus figures. And by the time I made it to the store, which was only a few days after they had posted it, on Facebook, half of it was gone. And I'm like, so again, I would have loved to have been there to talk to that Godzilla fan and been like, but that Rodan, do you really have to buy that one? Because that's the one I wanted. Snooze, you lose, I guess. But what's that? What's that, Eli?
Dad, you forgot again.
It's okay.
Well,
Eli's
you're
thinking.
like a bit like that with NECA.
NECA? Well, yeah.
NECA's like priceless this day. You said like someone would sell it for like 180 or something.
Which, like some of the Godzilla NECA that I have?
Exactly.
Well, it's because they don't have the license for Godzilla any longer.
Mm.
So now those figures are gone up in value because, they're not being made anymore. So yeah, I've sat on a few NECA figures just for that very reason, still in the box, because maybe one day I'll sell them. But yeah, it's like sometimes that happens. The license goes away, and now it's part of history, and now it's a rarity. But yeah, finding those rarities that are out there, and even seeing some of the silly stuff that existed that you're like, wow, they thought this would sell at the time. But then later, yeah, we get to mark it up because now somebody really, really wanted that. And at their time, it may have been only a couple of bucks in the toy store, but the value is increased. Even seeing people who were selling the Happy Meal toys, the transforming McNuggets. And
You're speaking my language.
Yeah.
The changeables.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we love changeables. We're changeable collectors, and again, it's another thing. You have a little basket of them at a toy show, and people are almost guaranteed to come and start conversation with you and look at your changeables.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's those unusual things. I even had, I think you've seen, you had one, the Ghostbusters little like pencil box, which I had those growing up too. I think at one point when the movies were coming out, there was, I think the it wasn't with McDonald's. I think it was with Hardee's actually that had some of those products that were coming in your kids' meals and things. And I don't know why I kept it, but I kept it. And I was just like, glad I did, because it's definitely a part of my childhood. But yeah, some of those rare things, and then those conversations. I talked about Captain Power and the director Gary Goddard, who went on to make the 1987 He-Man movie, the connection that he had with Captain Power and where it took him. And then when people are just like sitting back and it's like, how did you know all that? And it's like, well, I looked it up, because if you love this IP, you figure it all out. You're reading up on it, and you're digging into the history. And it's like, when I kind of made those connections, I was like, well, I know why I like Captain Power now, because I see the style of what he put together with the 87 He-Man movie. And of course I loved that. And so I was like, it makes sense why I would also love this other IP. And then we talked about tooling earlier. Another one that's the Aliens franchise, when they were coming out with those figures. It's like tooling of that. You're not going to cheat on the aliens, the xenomorphs.
Yeah, that's not a forgiving sculpt.
No. And especially if you want to get it right and not look cheap. Definitely that. Gojirasaurus becoming a Star Wars collector is like becoming a Beatles collector, a never-ending pursuit. They had to have made Beatles toys, I'm sure.
Well, some, yes, even more modern ones like Yellow Submarine figures. I've even seen the lunch boxes with thermoses in the past. Those go for pretty big money.
Yeah.
But the old Beatles merchandise like that's rare. It's always great.
Stephanie saying pizza's coming. We'll probably start wrapping up here shortly, and we'll show a little bit more off Gojirasaurus. I need X plus Gabbera if anyone's listening. Manda, to get in touch with @Gojirasaurus. Feel free to give me your contact information if you want. I'll see if I can't connect you with those. Send it to me in a personal message, either on Facebook, Instagram, or on X. Thank you, Gojirasaurus, for talking with us. I really appreciate it, and everyone in the chat. And again, like, subscribe, all those great things. Lots of NECA-Zilla bootlegs out there, though. Need to be careful. Yes, bootlegs, and even bootlegs sometimes become the collectible item that are out there. So, as we start wrapping up, is there some other products I think you wanted to show off here, Matt?
Are you still a collector, Jared? Would you still call yourself a collector?
Still very much so.
I'm a beginner collector. I've only got like a couple figures. I mean, hey, I got a free one from Dad. It was because on Friday was missing its tail.
There you go.
Well, yeah.
Well, I'm not really a collector anymore. Most of everything I collected became part of the inventory here.
Became for sale.
And always Stephanie would say, "Are you sure you want to get rid of your things here?" And it's just like, I don't want to be buried with them. But there is one thing I do want to be buried with. That's this.
Let me bring that up here.
This is
look at that
program for the play Oliver, starring Vincent Price. He was the schoolmaster. My brother was a theater geek back in the 70s. And this was signed by the master himself. He knew the stagehand, so he was able to get back there and have the master sign this.
That
and
is
my brother
awesome.
Passed it on to me.
Man.
Wow.
And so this would be my prize piece, not for sale in the store. This will never be for sale. And this is coming with me here. This is coming with me. Well, we'll see, but this is coming with me when I go. So that's the whole plan. But yeah, I'm not much of a collector anymore. I have a few records upstairs, but
actually, you are a collector of stuff for sale.
I love basically finding something. Just my intention is to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Although I sometimes get really, it's like, I hate to see that go. Like the 2 Shogun Warriors, or 3 that I had here that I restored. I cleaned up, I restored them, new stickers. One of them, even the Dragoon, the body was great. He had all his weapons, but his head was all chewed up like by a dog or something. So I took off the head, and I literally waited like 3 months, and then one day an original Dragoon head appeared on eBay.
Oh, come on.
Yep.
The head itself?
The head itself. Just the head itself.
Oh, my word.
But somebody needed it.
There you go. I needed it.
Connected
Yeah.
The record.
Okay,
Yeah.
probably overpaid a little for it, but the idea was, okay, I got this now here. I can complete this. I had all his weapons. I did the stickers. It was a beautiful piece.
So awesome.
That's a
And,
labor of love.
Yes, and then it was sad here finally when it sold. I sold it online, and it was sad to see it go because I put all that work into it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, now it's gone. It's like, oh, that's kind of sad. But oh well, I'll move on to the next thing.
Well, and speaking of, and we'll start wrapping up here, but of autographs, I know I've seen in here a few things that are autographed. There's some of them for sale that you've
Yes.
had the chance to go to some cons and get some items autographed.
Yes, and also too, we do consignment here with our friend Justin Ward, who helps run Horror Hound, who helps run that. So he brings in a few items we have from him consignment. So we got a Robert Englund Nightmare on Elm Street glove signed by Robert Englund.
That's a good one.
We have a Kane Hodder Jason mask.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Grinch mask signed by David Howard Thornton, who is Art the Clown in the Terrifying movies.
Oh,
okay.
So he
okay.
did a cheap, kind of low budget horror movie, Grinch horror movie called The Mean One. And so he had him sign that Grinch mask. You know, I got a Happy Days game, board game signed by Henry Winkler.
The Fonz himself.
There he is.
Yes.
I got 3 Michael Myers signatures from Nick Castle, Dick Warlock, to James G. Courtney. I got PJ Souls. You know, I got William Catt, the greatest American hero. You know, I got a DVD set. I have.
Any Godzilla?
Believe it or
ones?
not.
No,
No,
he doesn't have.
Ah.
no Godzilla ones.
Yeah,
I've got a few of
You've
those.
got plenty of those.
Yeah,
Well, a
there's-
few autographs. Yeah.
I've been dying to get an autograph from, honestly, anyone. I mean, my sister's got an autograph on a famous author named Craig Boltman, I think his name is.
But to be able to get into the conventions and see somebody
Yeah.
who's been in those films, and in our case the Japanese films, because they came overseas to be with us here in the United
Yeah.
States, us crazy Americans who go to these cons and go completely nuts over these
Bonkers.
people. I remember going to Days of the Dead in Indianapolis, the last convention before Haruo Nakajima, who played the original Godzilla suit actor. It was before he passed away, the very last convention he did, and it was just an honor to meet him, not just get his autograph, but those pictures and those memories, being able to speak with him, and just hear him tell his story, just an incredible thing I'll never forget. And I do have a request from Gojirosaurus. Plug away websites, social media. Oh yes, and is it Lori that your sister? Yeah, sister. He gave me a signed Gene Kelly You had a Gene Kelly program that you gave her?
Oh.
No, my brother.
Oh, your brother.
Yeah, my brother, he lives in, as I said, several brothers. This particular one lives in San Francisco. He had this, he had also, as well as he has all that old Hollywood memorabilia. Actually,
Yeah.
He still has quite a bit of it, actually.
Yep. Shout out to Kaiju Brooklyn in New York coming in May. Yep. So yeah, let's get the chance for you guys to plug away social outlets, anywhere they can find you, and how they get in touch with you, and plug away.
Plug away. Well, Parker's Imaginarium, we're located at 324 South Broadway Street in Greenville, Ohio. Of course, you'll find us on Instagram as well as Facebook. My wife also does TikTok videos here as well. Also, too, here. Oh, yeah, we can't. Oh, we almost forgot
Oh
about
my
our
goodness,
promotion.
yeah. We're running an awesome promotion.
We are also on Whatnot. We have some items here for basically for sale right now. We'll start doing live shows for comics sometime probably in January. We're also on Macari as well. We have a store on Macari where we sell lots of items. I'm trying to avoid eBay right now. Trying to avoid it like the plague.
Yeah.
But we got an awesome promotion going on right now here with 25th Century Toys and Collectibles. So you spend $20 at either participating store, you get 20% off of the other store. So, so you come in here, and
If it can be seen, it's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Had I thought about that ahead of time.
But you'll get this flyer. So let's say you come in here and spend $20 or more on something. We'll put a little sticker on this. You go see Jared, and we get 20% off here of any item. Some conditions do apply though, like the consigned
items here, yeah,
Right.
unfortunately, those don't apply.
Yep, we
for
have a
them.
couple of those in shop as well. So yeah.
Very awesome. So yeah, Facebook and Instagram. Find stuff on TikTok, and yeah, and that's the best way. And of course, you talked about Whatnot and Mercari, right?
Macari. Yeah.
Mercari. So those are ways if you're not a local to the Ohio area here, the West Central Ohio, East Central Indiana area here, you can still catch up with Matt that way. And Jared, go ahead.
Okay, so our shop, 25th Century Toys, is located at 113 South Barron Street in downtown Eaton, Ohio. You can definitely find us on Instagram. That's going to be 25th Century Toys. On Facebook, it's 25th Century Toys and Collectibles. And you can also find us on eBay, and that's all 25th Century Toys separated by underscores. But yeah, this has been fantastic. And
They're after us. They're after
we got
us.
some sirens going by. We'll pause for that.
Yeah.
That's trouble living downtown.
Yes.
Right around the corner from the fire station.
Yeah. Fire, ambulance, all kinds of things. Hopefully everything's just fine with that situation, whatever it is. But yeah, you're living in the city. That's what you get. We live, Eli and I, the family, we live out in the country. If there was an ambulance or a fire truck to go by, we're definitely getting our attention. I grew up next to the train tracks. So I was getting used to the idea of and hearing the train and the rumbling and all that.
The tracks.
Yeah, an old town like that.
Even out in the country, you could barely hear it.
Yeah.
Well, I also wanted to thank you, Nick, for your support since you came in the first day, and just been very helpful coming in and just having conversations, and then put on this live stream here for us. Let's do it again.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is only the beginning of it. This is the 1-year anniversary for both of your stores, and this is awesome. I wanted to see you grow. I want to see brick and mortar do well, because I think there is still something about the treasure hunt that people, can get into and live life in the real world sometimes. Put away the phones, put away the devices. And I say that as a, guy on YouTube.
Just take it out of the package.
Yes.
Play.
Absolutely.
Okay, that could go weird. But anyway.
But again, thank you all for joining us on another episode of the Monster Report Live. Check these guys out on their social outlets. Subscribe to this channel, all those great YouTube things. Eli, one last plug. Up to the mic. You got to talk to the mic and the camera.
I don't even know what to say.
Well, you have a YouTube channel, don't
Sorry. Also check out the Mini Monster Report, only on YouTube currently, but sorry. Do the same thing as the Monster Report. Subscribe to both our channels, and pretty much that's it.
All right, support us. We'll get into that 100,000 subscribers. Thanks to you all out there. And we'll get there, and we'll all share in the glory. But mostly me with that plaque, if we get it. Again, mostly. Yes.
Silver plaque.
And then beyond 100,000, a million, 2 million, it just can go from there. But again, it's a small channel that I just appreciate the love and support that everyone has given. And that's why I like to share that support with others around us, have them as guests, talk about their stories, talk about what, their passions are and what drives them in life, and, get away from, the woes of this world, the politics, the silliness that happens in this world, and just enjoy some of the things that actually does bring us together. And so again, thank you all for joining us in the chat, on replay, and shout out to all of the other YouTube creators out there in the kaiju spaces. I know you guys got live streams going on, and we look forward to being guests on those as well, and looking forward to having these gentlemen on another episode of the Monster Report Live in the near future. And for us here on the Monster Report Live, this has been a great night and great conversation. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.